August 3rd, 2008, and it's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and about an hour ago, I finished this book. Now, I wouldn't say it's my most favorite book of all time or anything, or my most favorite of the Twilight series, but I definitely had a unique experience with this book. This is the first book that I've gotten to, like, read with a friend, at least for, like, parts of it. Like, for the first third, a friend of mine came over, and we read for a big chunk of it until I finally got tired and had to go to sleep, and she had to go home, but, you know, it was interesting to bounce ideas off of someone while, like, right beside you while you're reading it for the first time. It's really interesting. If you've never done that with a book before that you really enjoy, you should do it. Like, I didn't really like, you know, the start, the first 100 pages and such. It was just kind of like, because Bella's still freaking out about the wedding and how, you know, how could anyone ever love her or whatnot. I mean, I know that that's a big part of her, but just it irritates me, and that she still hasn't gone over that Edward has eyes for her only and no one else. Like, thankfully he's gone over it in this book. And then, of course, we move on to the honeymoon after the wedding. Now, the fact that she woke up with bruises the next morning and didn't realize it, I was just like, okay, that had to be one heck of an experience for her not to notice how bruised up and how much Edward was tearing up things around her. I was like, wow, that had to be one experience for Bella. And then Edward says the line, I bit into a pillow or two. I hit the ground laughing almost. We thought at first that maybe she was going to slowly turn into a vampire or something because venom got into her somehow through, you know, the honeymoon night. Because, you know, when she ate that piece of chicken and she, like, spits it out because she thought it tasted disgusting, I was just like, is she, like, starting to not like human food? Is the venom, like, getting to her somehow? I mean, we'd never seen anything like that before, a human and a vampire. So it's like, is she slowly turning into a vampire? But then she started puking, and my friend were like, holy crap, it seems like she's pregnant. And once, you know, it's confirmed that she is, we're just like, this is an interesting twist. I was like, nice job, Stephanie Meyer. I don't think anyone predicted it. Except for me. Okay, I made this video called the Twilight series for dummies, and in it there's a fan fiction author who, you know, starts talking about the Twilight series and then goes off on a limb and starts talking about one of her own, you know, fan fictions. And in it she goes, but Edward and Bella have to run away and keep this, because Bella's pregnant, they have to keep it a secret, blah blah. And I was like, I jokingly said that as part of, to make that video funny, and it turned out to be true. I think that was kind of crazy, the fact that I thought about it before as a joke and it turned out to be true. I was so happy it was Jacob's point of view, and I don't think, I mean, like, so many people were always like, oh, I'm gonna burn Breaking Dawn if it's not from Bella's point of view. I don't think anyone's burned Breaking Dawn once they hit, you know, Jacob's perspective, because, I mean, nothing was really happening with Bella during that time, but a lot happened with Jacob during, it was so Jacob. Like, the preface was, life sucks and then you die. And then the titles of the chapters, it's like, you know, something's wrong when you feel bad about being rude to vampires, or the top two things on things that I never want to do list. It's just, they were so Jacob and so much like him that I was so happy that Stephanie Meyer got into his mind and narrated part of the book through his perspective, because I thought it was great. And I thought it was even more great the fact that he broke off from Sam's pack because he thought that they were wrong. I was incredibly happy. I was like, yes, Jacob is stepping up. No one can really say he's that immature anymore, because he's obviously not. He was able to be like, look, you're doing something wrong. I'm going to not be with you, you know, spread. And I was so happy that Seth tagged along. I was annoyed that Leigh tagged along later on, because I was worried that they were going to fall in love, because that would have pissed me off, because I did not like that ship at all. I was against the idea of not only Leigh and Jacob getting together, but of Jacob imprinting, so I kind of worried when he was walking around the park trying to find a girl to imprint on. I was like, no, don't imprint on anyone. I mean, I didn't think he was, because that would just been way too cheesy, just because he leaves and wants to imprint on someone. He does, but who he does imprint on, I was like, no way. He imprints on Edward and Bella's daughter, of course, which, sidetrack, they name her Nesme. I'm sorry. That is a ridiculous name. Couldn't that have been, like, you know, her middle name? I mean, her middle name is Carly. At least that's a normal name. I'm be like Carly Renesmee. I mean, no one likes their middle name anyway. But seriously, Renesmee, that's worse than Albus Severus. I didn't catch it at first. Like, I thought that, you know, when she looks at him, that he looked back and he saw Bella in her, and he was just like taken aback and astonished that so much of Bella was in her, that I didn't catch that he actually was imprinting on her at that moment. Until when Edward and Bella are hunting in the woods for the first time, and Edward sounds irritated at Jacob, I was like, Jacob imprinted on Renesmee. So I flip back to that part and I read it and I was like, ah, gravity towards her. Right, he imprinted on her. And I think that was the best person for him to imprint on was Renesmee. Because, you know, she's part of Bella, but, you know, it's for him. It's for Jacob. And it's time that Jake is happy. I was irritated with Rosalie, though. I mean, I know that she was wanting to protect the child and all that, but God, she was just horrible. Really liked seeing how Bella took to being a vampire. Like, and I'm glad that we got to see how she experienced being a vampire, too, because, I mean, I know we'll see that through Edward's eyes in Midnight Sun, but it won't be the same because it's not his first time experiencing all those new things, which us as readers, we're experiencing it for the first time with Bella. Because moving on to the whole confrontation with the Volturi, I was kind of like, I mean, I wanted that to happen, but I didn't want it to happen. Like, I didn't want a full-on fight, because that already happened in Eclipse, and doing it again would just be overkill. But I wanted some serious tension. I mean, we got really serious tension, but it ended too well for me. I mean, I knew the book overall was going to end well, but I mean, no one was even destroyed or anything. I mean, like, I know Irene was, and I kind of felt bad, but not really, because, I mean, she betrayed the Cullens. I know she didn't mean to, but she still did. The fact that Bella was, you know, shielding all of them, I knew nothing bad was going to happen, but I kind of wanted it to. I mean, I didn't want it to be that clean cut. I wish that, you know, one of the Volturi would have tried to penetrate, or, you know, broke ranks or something happened so that there'd be a scuffle, I guess, you know, something small. The fact that the Volturi backed off, I'm sorry, I kind of was like, I like the Volturi, but the fact that they back off that easily because they're outnumbered and they don't think they're, you know, nervous or whatever, I was just like, man, there goes my respect for you guys, because I thought they were just like, you know, awesome beforehand. I was like, they're cool, they, you know, they're just trying to keep the vampire world stable and whatnot, but they're just big bunch of cowards who want power. But, I mean, I'm happy it ended well. I wanted it to end well. I knew it was going to end well. I mean, Bella and Ed were going to be together, of course, and I was really happy that Jacob was happy. And that's probably the most thing that I like, this thing that I like the most, that Jake was happy. And with someone who, you know, not a random girl. It was with Edward and Bella's child. Which, I guess you could say I kind of predicted also before, because I also jokingly said that Jacob was going to imprint on a vampire. I mean, I know Renesmee is half a vampire, but I mean, still, it kind of happened. So that's two predictions that I said jokingly that actually happened. Crazy. I don't like that she wrote the end at the end of it, because I always find that cheesy, but, I mean, is it really the end? I know that probably nothing else, like, interesting will happen, but I kind of want to see how things go with Jacob and Renesmee, and I know that Edward and Bella don't want to think about it for another 6.5 years about them getting married, but imagine their children. That is going to be one unstoppable force of nature. Half werewolf, gene, shapeshifter, whatever, quarter vampire, you know, it'll be interesting, I think, but I guess I'll have to look forward to that in fan fictions. But overall, I'd say overall pretty satisfied with this book, pretty much. Yeah,